Hey everyone, welcome back to Indicted TV. I'm your host Negra. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Before we start, you already know I gotta give a shout out to my sponsors, Royalty Honey. Keep it hard, guys, and it's also for the ladies, for his and hers.
Okay, nice.
For the best jewelry everywhere. Make sure you hit up For His Glory for the best jewelry. Also for the best fire Cali plug. And if you want to get a tattoo, Untouchables Tattoos. So on today's episode, we have Ty. Welcome to Indicted TV, Ty.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So tell us, Ty, tell us where you're from, where you grew up, your mom, dad, the house, growing up inside your house.
All right. So I guess my story starts like my mom, my dad. Well, like my mom's Peruvian, so like my whole family, my mom's side, they were from Peru, and then they immigrated to New Jersey. So like my whole Peruvian family's over there, and then I guess like growing up, my mom was ¿cómo se dice? Like she was the youngest out of a lot of her mom died, my grandma died. I never got to meet any of my grandparents. They died before I was born.
Okay.
So growing up, she grew up in poverty and stuff like that. So that was like her story growing up. My dad, on the other hand, so growing up, I guess like como in Texas or something like that, pues they went to Washington. So my grandma lived over there.
Your dad's?
My dad's side.
Okay.
Sorry. My dad's side of the family, they grew up in Washington. And he grew up as a Jehova Witness.
Okay,
so...
different.
Yes.
Because it is a different... Like, being Jehova Witness, I feel like they grew up super... Like, you can't do certain things. You can't do this. Like...
Yeah, it's a different... It's a whole different lifestyle for sure. So he met my mom. Like he went to Bethel. That's kind of like where they go to become like bigger in the community. In the
religious. Religion?
Como anciano, it means like a pastor.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So then he met my mom, and then they married in New Jersey, whatever. And then I was conceived. Was it not conceived? What the fuck? I was born. I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I lived there for till I was 5. So my memory of there is hazy because
sure.
I just remember that after 9/11 things changed over there. So I don't remember much of it. I do kind of remember that obviously everybody was in shock. Like the whole world was in shock.
For sure, still.
Yeah, still like, and it just happened, like it was like 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of like, it's always like something that, like we all know as like people that lived over there, what we had to go through that day.
Yeah.
And that was the reason, one of the main reasons why my family moved me to Washington.
As far as like your mom, your dad, and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So I don't have no siblings. I'm an only child. So I guess de que cuando nací, my mom, she just had a miscarriage and she had what's that thing, postpartum depression. So she was more como she never wanted to try again, right? So there I am. She was like like she said that I was the crazy one, and she was like, you're the black sheep of the family, like that's it. So I'm like, okay, well, so growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, I felt that I was, there was some stuff that I felt that I wanted to have as a normal child, but I couldn't. I grew up with having no birthdays.
That's right.
Because one of their beliefs obviously is the birthdays.
Yes.
So I remember even going to school when they were classmates, and because my dad was a pastor, I had to be the good example. So where I grew up in Washington, it's a really small town. Literally, there's one Walmart, one high school, 3 gas stations. It's called Othello. Wow. Shout out to Othello. They're going to be like, hey. I'm the reason why they took up the monkey bars. Because I climbed up and then I fell down. And they were like, yeah, take this shit away.
Yeah, you hurt yourself.
Yeah, so everybody knows everybody over there. It's one of those little towns, right? So obviously, my dad, and more than my dad worked in the school district, it was so hard to get away from doing shit. Because I used to, no me estaba vigilando, pero estaba vigilando.
Yeah, because everybody knew that was your dad.
Yes. Yeah, so I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is, I felt like I was Like, I was always being watched. And if it wasn't my dad, it was my tia that worked there.
Okay. At the school?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, I remember one time, like, because when I was growing up, obviously, like, you know, you want to do stuff, you know, dress. Like, I had to wear, like, jeans, y como, like, when other girls would wear, like, mini skirts. And I want, you know, so I remember that I would sneak my mini skirt in. Right? And then I would bring my stuff in my backpack, and then I would go to school y me cambiaba ahí. And then
and this is at what age?
This was like entering middle school.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was like, bro, in elementary, and that was como media fast, right?
Hell no. I don't know, like over there, it was kind of like like como se dice, like everybody would just like tell on everybody, and I remember that like middle school, that's kind of when the mini skirts was coming in style. You know, and I remember one time I wore it, and then my tia, she saw it, but I forgot she was working the desk that day. Like, you know, when you come in through attendance, and then they're like right there, and then she told my dad, and then my dad gave me a whole
especially because Jehovah's Witness ladies have to wear like past the knee.
You have to wear stuff like como si no es de la knee para abajo. Like, yeah, and I just thought it was like, what is so wrong? Like for me, it's just like I'm like, I guess I couldn't even show, like, God forbid I show like half, like a little bit this. Be like a sin, you know.
No, hombre,
that's how I grew up pensando, like they were brainwashing me, like no se debe ver la mujer así. So I was like, okay. So then that was like my whole middle school experience. I feel like when it really hit was high school though, because high school is kind of like, you know, your hormones start working, you know, you start becoming a woman, like, you know, you get your period, whatever. Like, yes. I feel like that was a big hit for me. And
why do you say that?
Because that's kind of when I was realizing that I didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. Because I just felt excluded. Like, honestly, the person that I am right now is not the person that I was before. I was like super shy. Like, I remember that like growing up, like they even made fun of my looks. Because like before, like now my lips are enhanced, but before when I had natural lips, they were still a little bit big. Like compared to other girls growing up, so they would be calling me like Flappy Bird and shit. Like I was super mean. Yeah, but you know how like high school girls be like. So I would feel like it was more like como like, you know, everybody deals with like a bully in their life, right? Yeah. So, you know, and like the popular girls, like the pretty girls, whatever. I was kind of like excluded from some social events because I couldn't get to join sports. I remember I barely joined like drill team under conditions that I couldn't participate in, like, how do you call it, the events.
Why, because of your outfits?
No, because I guess that if you go to like games and stuff like that, it takes away from preaching. Like knocking door. I had to knock door to door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like I was super, you know, like into it because growing up I had to be.
But it's cool. God is good.
God is good. Like, you know what? I'm not trying to say nothing bad about it. I'm just trying to say like growing up.
You're telling I understand you. I'm sure the people that are watching understand exactly what you're saying. You know, you're telling your story, your experience. I've actually never really even met, I mean, I've studied the Bible with Jehovah's Witness for like a while. I really, and I mean that. But I mean, for me to go knock door on door, that's like different, especially as like you're like forced as a little girl to live this lifestyle, and it's not easy. I'm sure it's hard because you're saying like you wanted to be on drill team and you couldn't do sports. Like, what young girl doesn't want to do certain things and they're not allowed because, and it's not like you're doing bad, it's like positive.
Yeah, I felt like how you explained it. And I just kind of like was like lost in a way. Like I wanted to be myself, but I just didn't know how to because that, you know, my dad, he was a pastor. I had other people that were watching me in the church, but also I wanted to be myself growing up because in high school, it's just like, you want to start going out. You want to start going to little parties that they were having, you know?
You want to wear makeup.
Yes. Like I wanted to, well, we could wear makeup. Yeah. We could wear makeup.
Well, not like extreme.
Not extreme. Not like this. Well, maybe like this. Now they don't care.
Yeah.
So, I guess like it was in senior year. So, I was talking to this, I think it was I don't remember. We were just in a football team, right? Whatever. And, like they heard because he was talking about that about me. And, we had a little fling or whatever. Not a fling. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say that that's when I lost my virginity at 18.
Okay.
So, and
at 18?
Yes.
I mean, it's better than 15, like, you did good.
Honestly, it was not even like how they hyped it up.
You did good.
You know how they hype it up and they'll be like, oh my God. It's
like,
just
no, that shit is terrible.
Bro, I was like, is this how it is? Like, what?
Yeah, it's dumb. I agree.
Like, in throat? I was like, bro, like, that shit was, okay, well, the thing is that he talks, and then there's like this
okay,
girl.
I see what you're saying.
So hablando, and because I feel like growing up, like, they seen me as, like, the girl that was, like, como, like, oh, it's...
La santita.
Como a good, like, a pastor's daughter type of thing. And then, what's it called? This girl from the church, she told like the ancianos. So they're kind of like how it works is that if you do something that's against, like, for example, sex before marriage is a sin. So that is conditions to expulsar. I really don't know the term in English, but expulsar kind of means like that you're excluded.
To get terminated.
Yes, excluded from the community. So then they took me in that day. They were like, hey, you need to come, like, we want to talk to you, whatever. I was like, yeah, like, sure. And they were like, we heard that this happened, and that, it's been multiple times that you have done stuff that has not been with like how God wants you to, or like how you're supposed to be acting as, a baptized Jehovah's Witness, because I was baptized too. So that's kind of like what I had a lot of responsibilities. So they were like, we're just going to have to expel you. And I remember that was like, was like, all right. Like,
and how did your parents treat you? Like, how did your parents react towards this? Or was it your parents telling you this?
No. No, my parents know. It was like another group, like they because my parents, like, they thought they were like higher. Yeah, they were like, that they think that God told them, that they had to expel me and whatever. So I was like, my parents, honestly, they were sad. Like, I remember, like, this was before graduation. So my mom was just really sad. I feel like my mom got hurt the most because, like, she's just, as a mom, you kind of don't want to think that your daughter's having sex or,
yeah.
like, as you, I
feel like all moms do get disappointed in their daughter when they lose their virginity. That's just normal. But do you think it was more about her looking some type of way to the community?
I used to think that because I used to think that, like, why would that matter? Like, if it was one mistake, like, I don't think that was right for me. I always thought, like, I don't think, if God's such a loving God, why did he have to expel people that, like, because God forgives, right? Mm-hmm. So in my head, I had a lot of questions, even growing up. There's a lot of stuff that I even have unanswered, like, to this day. And I felt like my mom was genuinely sad. Okay. My dad too. He was more sad, but
they're more parents than anything, which is good. Yeah.
So I remember that for like graduation, like, cause los hermanos, they call it hermanos, the community. Los hermanos, they like go, like, in every graduation that happened, like, they do like a little like party. Like, I remember that they would do parties for like like school gyms and stuff. They do little parties for their, for me, like, everybody like stopped talking to me. Like, growing up, like, I really had like church friends that I do miss, like, I wish them best and everything like that, but they're, they stick to the code that was, like, once you're expelled, they're not supposed to talk to you. So yeah, like, I basically had like a few friends from school and stuff like that, but it was just so awkward because I remember, like, even like going to the store, like, they look at you and they just like turn away,
which is so sad.
Yeah, like, I was just,
like, being judgmental is not like, it's like one of the main sins.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, pues, well, I'm not gonna be one to judge. Like, if this is the truth, like, I was like thinking, so be it, Mm-hmm. So after graduation, I had to get a job, obviously, I was living with my parents. So I was working at a little like corner store. Like, it was that's when I met some some of my friends there, and I remember that's when I started sneaking out to go to like little like kickbacks and stuff like that. And I remember that, like, because I would be so afraid to sneak out. Like, everything that I started doing at a later age, I felt like people were doing it younger than me, but I couldn't. Like, if a normal kid, I had it 10 times harder. So like I remember I had to sneak out through my window, and I fell in the bushes, like because girl was trying to sneak out. I remember like even like trying to not let the door creak. Like I would be like,
oh yeah,
like I was just and I would go to kickbacks. We would do like. What is that one?
You just wanted to be a normal girl.
Yeah, like I felt exactly. So I felt like everything that I like, it's just I was going at it hard because I never had that before, So I was like partying, but then I remember that one time my dad caught me because I was super drunk. My friend had to like help me back in. They're like, yo, like,
Like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, so she was like caught red-handed. I was there and I was like, hi. Like I was drunk as fuck. My dad was like, ponla la cama. Like, and he gave me a whole like a discussion in the morning, and he was just like, you're messing up your life. If you're gonna keep acting like this, then we're gonna need you to move out because you're affecting me, and I can't be a pastor anymore because of you. And then I was just, anciano, but whatever, it's the same thing. So I was like, then I move out. Like I was just like, so then that's kind of when I started being like a little rebelde.
Well, you had basically, I mean, it's not that you really had no choice. Like you really didn't have a choice. Mm-hmm. Like I feel, I could be wrong. This is just my opinion, what I think. When a parent always tries to like keep them like this, like, you're not allowed to do anything, is when the girl or the young man act out.
Yeah. I feel like it's like a caged dog. You're going to keep a dog so long. And
exactly.
Then es como like, ya que le sueltas, it's like,
I feel like let your children make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it. You're in this religion. When you're a kid, you kind of don't have a choice. But once you become like a teenager, like you do have a choice. Is this what you really want to do? Or like, am I being forced? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you're a teenager, it's hard because you're not being allowed to find yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. I felt like I just couldn't, I didn't find myself when I was younger. So I was finding myself when I was older. Mm-hmm. And obviously like, that's kind of like when, you make obviously more mistakes along the way because you didn't learn them younger,
Exactly.
So after that, I remember that online on Facebook, like there was this page for bikini baristas. So that's a thing. It's not here in Southern California, but bikini baristas are kind of like...
is it kind of like a Hooters?
Like a strippers in Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of like you dress in a bikini and you're serving coffee to like. Oh, okay. So I saw that online, and then I remember that I was just like, that seems interesting to try out, And I was always like, como I didn't
like a sexy girl.
No, I was never. I was like I was a nerdy girl. But I remember like.
Well, I mean, the sexy girl is probably super in you.
I know it was. It was ready to come out. Like it was like yeah. So I was like okay then. So I remember that I messaged with the owner, and then she was like come in and then I remember I took my parents' car because they had a car, like they got like a second car, but I would always take it everywhere without permission, right? Whatever. So I remember I took it, and then like I started working, and that's kind of like, it was like super like it was the most craziest work I've done, because I worked before like at Walmart. I even worked in a papa factory. Like if I told you everything I worked, it would be so long, but I worked like everywhere that was like hard labor, mm-hmm. Even in the fields growing up. I even worked like with how do you call it? The seasonal workers was, that working in the fields. Like, mm-hmm. So this was kind of
like the grapes and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I haven't ever had to pick apples. So this was like, oh my God, like obviously it's
that's
like,
a good job.
Yeah, like I don't gotta bust my ass in the sun. How long I gotta be sexy, like wear lingerie and get like styling.
And then they gave you the outfit or what?
No, well, they had outfits there, and you could buy your outfits.
Okay.
So you just had to go to a sex store and buy outfits.
Oh shit! It was like super sexy.
Mm-hmm. Like they have some. I know they have some in the Bay, but where I worked at, it was called.
I never heard of that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So when I went there working, I started obviously, like learning the barista. So it's just like a lot of, you have to think about the drinks and stuff like that. Most important was the clients. I felt that with the clients, you talk to them, you know, like they know you already.
It's like you have regulars.
Exactly. So that's kind of when
Oh, damn. So it's basically like not like a strip club, but like a strip club. Except because there's no alcohol. So it's kind of like more of like a real pervert.
Yes.
Which is kind of like not cool either, though. So, I mean, it's not cool, but it's kind of like, okay, you don't got these pervert ass fools touching me, but these fools are even sicker because they're sober.
Yeah, they're exactly.
Oh, no.
Is that
like a weird way that I look at it?
Yeah, like
no, right?
The super troopers would come.
Like the real perverts, like not fools trying to party.
First thing in the morning with their perversions.
Oh no!
That's the first thing. I'm just like, that's crazy. That's the first thing you think in the morning to come. You came for the coffee or the tits? What did you came to look at?
That's kind of like intense, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that the girl that was teaching me, oh my god, like with her, it was so crazy because she was the manager, but she would be like telling me, oh, you need to like loosen up. Because I was like getting my feet wet. I'm like, well, how? And I remember she would be like, okay, like teaching me how she would do it. She'll be like, tips for tits. And I'm like, huh? I was like, oh, like, you know, I was like,
it was new to you.
Yeah, it was new to me. So she was like telling me like, you know, loosen up. And I guess she took me under her wing, you know? Mm-hmm. So I remember that I was, you know, getting a little bit like how to get tips from her, how to get, you know.
Yeah, you were just learning.
Yeah. And I guess that was the start of me understanding that in this, you know, as growing up, if you're a pretty girl, whatever, there's always sex work, right? You know, people want to always, you know, pay for your time, whatever it is. And that's kind of where, like, you know, I was getting like tell me like, hey, you want to hang out with me?
You were getting groomed there.
Yeah, groomed, you know, because I never got that. I feel like because I never got that attention younger, it was always like, it just like felt like, you know, good. I was like, oh, okay, you know?
So that's how you like to tell yourself of the situation.
Mom, Dad, no, but anyway, so I felt like that was kind of like the start of it.
Yeah.
And I remember, so this is kind of like an important part of my life because that leads to what you did. So I remember there was a certain client that would come through and somebody who like, oh, like, you know, come over or whatever. And, you know, like, pago por tu tiempo and todo. And then I was like, Like, you know, by that time already, my homegirl, she was like, she got me a gig, not a gig, but like a photo shoot from like a guy who paid us like $1,000 each. And he was like, hey, you know, if this is easy money, I'm like, this is like what I could make like in a week there or like 2 days there or 3, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right? It was good money regardless, but it's always better to have other, you know, I was
more
always,
money coming in.
Yeah. So then I remember that when I met him, like he was, you know, like, he was like obviously trying to like do more stuff, and I was a little bit kind of, you know,
because it was like your first time actually doing like a different kind of gig.
So I felt like, you know, I wasn't really, you know, I really didn't know how to like, you know, I never got, you know, I never, you know, how to do it, because before it's just kind of like when you actually like someone, you do it because out of love. Now it's just kind of like I was already getting in, you know, like how people actually, you know, do it, like they'll pay to get your time or whatever, and it's just kind of like, it's just mentally, you know? So anyway, that was the start of it, right? So then this dude tells me that he has a carniceria and he wanted me to come check it out. And he was just like, oh, come meet my dad. I was like, okay.
You're like, this is getting serious.
The dad. Okay. So I go in there and then I meet the dad, right? Okay, you know, like, it was just weird because then, like, I remember that ahí toda la familia trabajaba. So I was just kind of like, oh, shit, you know, like, what is, you know, I was thinking it was a normal store.
Oh, okay.
It was like a carniceria. So I was working as, like, how do you call it, like, what is that thing? Como like tomaban las fotos, and I was there showing like, hey.
Oh, like you were just like the model of the meats.
Yeah, like the model of this. And since I worked already at that place, I was already known. So obviously, I guess it was like promo. And I remember like, you know, people talking shit there, like, oh, dile que se ponga más ropa. They told me to come in like shorts. What the fuck you want me to do?
Yeah,
like,
you're just following orders for the photo shoot kind of vibes.
Yeah. So then, I remember the same thing. The dad asked me, do you want some, you know, some time with me? I'm like, what is this? But I'm down. So I go, mind you. So when I meet him, he was like, I'm going to need you to do a mission for me. And I was just like, well, what's that? And he was just like, well, I need you to drive a car all the way to Arizona. And then
He didn't tell you. He just told you he needs you to drive. Okay.
So entonces I was like, it's okay. You know, and I took my parents' car. And I remember they were like, we're gonna need to take your car, and then like we just wait over here. I'm like, yeah, okay. So then
You didn't even think like anything, huh? Or did you think?
No, I didn't, because I didn't even know this thing. Like, I was like, I'm just driving a car to Arizona. Okay, free trip. Mind you, I'm there smoking the whole time. They're like, like having a blast in my car. My dad's like, Ty, where you at? I'm riding Arizona. What? And like, I remember.
Wait, what did your parents say or tell you when you got the job?
Okay. I didn't tell him.
Okay, cool. Okay.
They found out later because he was in the screenshots. But that was later.
Yeah. Okay, so you're in Arizona. You take a trip, they tell you.
Sí, entonces, that's when I guess that he called me and he was just like, the car smelled like weed. I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, don't you know you have to drive more careful? And I'm like, well, why? And then obviously he tells me that I was transporting drugs. So
You were paranoid now, or no? Or you didn't give a
honestly, I was a little bit paranoid because I was like, well, what type of drugs? Like, I was like, are we talking like weed? Are we talking,
Yeah.
what? And like, then he told me that's when it was like, other drugs, like meth, but and I was like, damn. All right. Like, and that's kind of where I got my foot wet in the water.
Got it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So I was their kind of like their driver. So I guess like that's kind of like when I went back, then like obviously they paid me, like that was the first time. But
And they paid you well.
yeah, I mean back then, yes. For that it was good money. You were probably looking at, like, when you were doing that, it was like 4 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, people probably get paid more. It's just, but for me,
You didn't know it was, yeah, especially because you didn't know.
For me, it was good. So that whole time that I was working at Carniceria, and then I was also working at the Bikini Espresso. So I was managing my time.
You were doing runs, so you were making money.
Yeah, back then. So entonces, I just told my parents, like, well, I'm just gonna move out because I just felt like and then to drive back, because where my job was, the bikini one, that was like an hour away from where I stayed at with my parents. So I told my parents, no hace sentido like coming back and forth commuting, So I was like, I'd rather just, get my own place over there. And so, I got a little apartment. Right there. Like, not an apartment. I'm, like, exaggerating. I was
like a little spot.
yeah. Within my roommate, una viejita. I remember, I didn't even know. It was, like, back then when Craig's, like, was hitting, So I remember, I was like, oh.
Hey, a room is a room. Especially when
room. We all
So you get your little spot, which is yours, which is great. It's your own little room. It's your own spot. Now you're really on your own.
Yeah. So,
You're doing the espresso bikini thing. You're working at the Carniceria and you're doing runs.
So, but the runs were kind of like no era seguido.
Okay.
Pero like obviously I was doing it, and then I found out later like what they were about. Obviously, like that was not their main. How do you call it? That kind of city was not their main business. And
Yeah,
stuff like that.
those are washing the money.
Yeah, lavando city. Yeah, all that. So going back to my hometown and stuff like that, because I would visit my family in the middle. I remember like I had this friend. And growing up, like, he was also from the church, but he was not in it because his parents were not involved at it like mine. And he lived next to me, and I remember, like, going, he would always be like, oh, come over and stuff like that, And I remember that when I went to his house, he had a studio, like a music studio. And, like, always would be smoking there, and he'll be playing these beats and stuff like that. And, like, he was like, hey, you should try to write something. You're probably gonna be good. You probably like it. And I was like, nah, I don't do music. I like music growing up, obviously.
Everybody
and it's
likes
just
music,
like,
yeah.
but I was like, I don't write music.
Yeah.
So then he was like, just listen to a beat and whatever, you might like it. So I remember that I wrote a song. And and then we recorded it, and he said it was good. So I dropped, but it was SoundCloud. Yeah, SoundCloud. And I dropped it on SoundCloud. And then I guess that's what got me more noticed. So I guess I popped up as like this rapper. Like they were like, oh, like girl, like in my town especially, I got a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this bitch wants him now. She thinks she's a, you know, like she's a, like, you know, a stripper, Starbucks, whatever you want to call it. Like, well, now she wants to be a rapper. Like growing up, like, ¿quién se cree? Like,
yeah.
You know, I got a lot of hate, as well as obviously people that were like, hey, like, you know, you sound good, or like, I didn't know you do music. I didn't. I was just around in the studio.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I was like, but I actually like it, you know? And because of that, I got like I was already getting known, I guess you can say. So I remember that even the local radio over there, they were like, hey, come in, you know, we want to talk to you.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. So I remember that I was working that's when I started working as a radio, like, how do you call it? Like in doing like an interview on air. I remember one time I did that, and then I started working for them too. But like it was more kind of like they want to knock doors and get business. It wasn't really something I count, right?
Okay.
But I remember that music kind of brought me out because I only had like one song, and I recorded other songs, and that's when other like local rappers were just like, hey, can you like write a verse on my song? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I remember that Blueface came to Tri-Cities, and I opened up for him. I guess that was my first time that I conquered my fear, because I really have anxiety in front of like people, right? So I remember that like opening it up, I was like, fuck, like, you know, so I had only one song, mind you, it's a 2-song set. So everybody, you know, was like, you know, like some of them don't know me, some of them do. Obviously, like I was like, hey, when I brought my girls, I was like, hey, just shake ass or something. Because I don't got no ass, so you guys got to do it for me. So, you know, and then I remember the next song, I just like voiced the song, the Cardi B song, the one, Bodak Yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember it was cool. Like, and I didn't even,
being on stage was a cool experience.
yeah, and I met Blueface. That was even before he dropped the Tatiana remix with Cardi B. Si ni estaba like todavía ahí famoso. Mm-hmm. But like he was cool too.
He was working. You know?
Yeah, he was working. So, you know, I was like, damn, that was a cool experience I had, because I felt it was just me being out there doing, like, that's what I really, honestly, I fell in love with. I feel like music for me, like since that day, I was really scared to do it, but then I actually fell in love with it. And I wanted to pursue it, you know, but I had my head in other directions. That's when I stopped working at the Bikini Barista, because then I got in a relationship. And you know, that obviously, if it's not a relationship that builds you up, it like kind of breaks you down.
For sure.
Yeah, so, and it was a little ass kid. Like, that's what annoys me. Like, ni era alguien que me cuidaba. Like, now that I think about it, I'm like, damn, you know, I did this all for a little ass kid.
And you were taking care of him.
Yeah, exactly. I was taking care of him because of my money I was getting. So he was staying at my room y todo. And, you know, like, everybody would just tell me that como he was a player and all that. And pues, you know, yo no le quería creer. But at the same time, you know, like, I'll be fair. Like, I was doing my own thing, as you can tell. You know, like how I said it, you know, meeting people and doing other shit on the side. Like, it's just like, you know, I'll just be completely honest, because that's how I felt like you know, a lot of girls could relate probably to me. But it's just like, I felt that I was more hurt when he was poniendo los cuernos a mí.
Yeah, because you were the one taking care of him.
Yeah, and then I was like, if you're gonna fuck someone, right, and at least do it for me, I always thought it, like, sácale algo de eso. You're just doing it because you're trying, you know, like, because you want to just fuck other bitches. Like, it's just different. Like, bruh, like, and now you're living under my place.
Yeah.
Like, no, I just felt like, you know.
Yeah, super disrespected.
Yeah, exactly. But I just never saw it into my own eyes. Even if people would send me, like, proof and stuff like that, I would, like, you know, just ignore it, whatever, like, take it back, whatever you want to call it.
So where did it start changing? Because obviously you're unindicted. That means you went to prison. Like, what happened?
Okay.
You're right, because right now you just told me you're just grinding, you like your music, you're doing this, you know, you're doing runs.
Sorry, I was telling you my whole life is the movie.
It's okay, no, it's okay.
Like, I'll be like, damn it, I'm always thinking, like, what part should I tell? Because it's kind of one part is important for the other part.
For sure.
Okay, so I'm just going to get to the important part. You know, so I'm just skip like a little bit forwarding. So we moved to California because I
Who, your family?
No, me and my boyfriend.
Okay, the boyfriend, the little kid.
Yeah, the little kid. Because the little kid. Because I was like, damn, I'm getting tired of here. Like everybody wants to talk all this shit, and you know, I was already knowing there. I'm like, might as well try a new city.
Yeah.
You know, like I wanted a fresh new start. Okay, so we moved there. I stayed with his family. Whoop-de-whoop. I guess that's when I was working as a security guard. And I was like, man, this shit sucks. Because I was already used to bikini barista, everything. That I was like, you know. And then with the runs, I kind of said goodbye to okay, that's the most important part. So then the runs, I guess, I just said goodbye to them because they were like, oh, we're getting, you know, one of them that was my trusted friend, he was like, hey, you know, it's getting hot. We don't want you involved. So we just probably need you to like
Move.
Exactly.
Is that why you moved?
So that was the reason why I moved, but he brought it up too because I didn't know where to move.
Yeah.
But so when he said he had family over there, I'm like, well, let's move. You know. So I moved mostly because of that, you know. And then so then we moved to California, and then that's when I was working as security guard. I was like, this shit ain't it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what the. So then I started working as a dancer.
Ah, okay. So you went from the security to a dancer, but you're already comfortable with wearing the little clothes. So,
But it's a whole different environment because over there,
where did you start working at?
okay, Angels Cabaret.
I don't know where it's at. Where's that?
It's in OC.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but now it's the other one. What is it called? The OC Gentleman. I don't know. It's the OC 11 now. It is. But I was working as a dancer. Whatever. Me puso los cuernos otra vez, and then I was like, man, I'm done with you because now working at the club, I'm meeting all these fine, you know, guys, and like, you know, who spend money. I'm like, you think I'm gonna be with you? Like,
Yeah.
no, like,
Yeah.
So I remember I left him. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna do it my own because it was like too much enough. So then,
And you were making money, so it doesn't even matter.
yeah. So then I met this friend there. So we'd be like hoteling.
Okay.
We'd be like hotel room, un día, make the money, otro día. But see, it was like gastería de dinero. But then I looked again, is this the same Craigslist? I was using that. And then I found a house. And then it's the same thing with the room and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I was living there.
Cool.
So I was the dancing, doing that, all that. So in LA, I met, he's someone really special in my life. So his name was Rocky. And you know, he was I guess he was like the first person who showed me what a real man's like. And so I'll always appreciate him for that. So, you know, we had like a good 3 months. But the whole 3 months, obviously, like that's kind of when I started like involving myself in like drugs. Because
Okay.
I didn't start using drugs until like you know, like drinking, I don't really consider it like that.
I know what you mean.
That's when I started messing with obviously the, you know, the powder and stuff like that. And with him, you know, because LA is, I mean, coke is more like a, how do you say it, like a
Party.
a high class drug. Like every, you know, LA girl was using it back then, you know, like, so obviously I got in it, you know. So I was like really big on it too. Me and his, you know, whatever relationship, it was good. He was solid. Then I, you know, obviously I realized what he did, you know, like he was obviously selling, you know. And then I was living at his place, so I stopped dancing. And I remember that one time when I went to dance, actually, that I got a call, and they were like, "Hey, like, he's dead." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, I was like, you know,
Because you were living with him at the time when he passed away.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was already como a little bit, you know, okay, I didn't understand what was going on. And then I was already getting threats online too. Like they were like, oh, like don't show up to the funeral. You're just a disgraceful hoe and shit like that. And
Oh, wow.
and I felt like I felt I was part of his life, but not really, because I felt like obviously every guy, you know how they are. Like I was here, and then sometimes I would be with my friends like for 2 days, and like and that whole like before like he passed away, I was not really like with him a lot. So I just felt distant, and I just felt like going there, like, because he had a long-time ex-girlfriend that was going to show up. So I just didn't feel like it was my place. And, like, with those threats, I was just like, you know, I sent my condolences to his mom and brother. But it's just, like, that whole death was just so weird because, like, I felt that there was just, I don't know, just something in my heart that just says that I hope, you know, that wherever he's at, he's good. But it's just, like, there was no answers to his death. It was, like, you know, no body, nothing.
Oh, wow.
So
That's crazy.
Yeah, so, you know, I hope he's in a better place and rest in peace, you know.
Yes.
So the thing is that now, fast for a little bit, you know, I went back dancing. I was even more fucked up than usual because I was, you know, like still reeling from that, you know. And then in that time, I remember that I was like crying in my car. And then as comes this little dog, and then like I was just like he just came like he knew me, right?
An actual dog?
A perrito. It was like a miniature pincher. Yeah, like Chihuahua pincher, whatever. And I remember I named him Rocky because I don't know. I just felt like it was
him.
Yeah.
Kind of vibes.
Yeah, like
I mean, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but hey, I mean, it happens. I feel like, you know. Okay,
Yeah,
so
like-
it's crazy because every time somebody has passed away that I'm like extremely that I care for, they like a certain animal comes to my house, like weird. Yeah, so I kind of believe it's like so crazy.
So I named him Rocky, you know? And so, yeah, because you know, like you said, like I just felt it was just a connection. Like he just came like he knew me. So, you know, so that was the you know, like, he, you know, like he was bringing joy in my life. I felt like I was like a mom, like a dog mom, you know? So now I had responsibilities and everything. Okay, so in the club, you know, there's friends that come and go, but I was really close to a friend there. I'll just keep her name disclosed, whatever.
Yeah, it's
you know? But you know, and so me and her, we do plays. We would do like private dancing, whatever.
What do plays mean?
Plays is kind of like when a client or guy calls you and just be like, hey, I want you to dance like for
A private event kind of vibes.
So private events, but that involves money, you call it plays.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would do that. And I remember one time we beefed it over something, and then she didn't talk to me for like 2 days. But mind you, I really opened up with her over a lot. Like I remember I even told her about runs that I did, because she asked me about my life story, you know. And so I like kind of like told her everything, you know, because I thought, you know, like I was like, oh, you know, I just, you know, was just talking to her and everything like that. Like I didn't think anything of it, you know. So then when she hits me up, like after the 2 weeks, and then she's like, hey, like I want to put you on a play. I'm like, well, what is it? Thinking it was like, you know, the same like the money stuff we were doing. And she's like, I'm gonna need you to get a car. I'm gonna get something in Mexico and drive it back. And then I was like thinking, I'm like, but I already did this before. So I was thinking, I'm like,
Okay, I
you know,
got this.
like I was asking questions. Like she's like, yeah, you're gonna get a car. You know, when you do this, that car is gonna be yours. We're just gonna need you to stay, you know, go over there. We'll pay your hotel and everything. And you know, just go over there. You know, we got you, girl. Whatever. I should have just known my better judgment, because it's just like no one out of the blue comes after like 2 weeks just to tell you I'm gonna put you in a, you know. Like I should have known better. But back then I was thinking, I always had the problem of thinking too good, like of people, you know. So whatever. So I was like, okay. And so I was like, but what about Rocky? And then she was like, well, we'll take care of him, you know. So I was like, okay, you know, like I was thinking like, you know, she's gonna take care of him or whatever. So then,
Oh no.
so then I went to, how it started was, you know, like, they picked me up, and then they were like, oh, vas a ir en el bus y vas a cruzar allá, you know? So I go, and then, so I get into, I cross into Mexico, and then some guys pick me up, you know, like, they swear, they were like all dressed in like fake Gucci and shit, whatever, you know how they be like that with their hats. Yeah, those, and then I was like, okay, what is it about, you know? And they were like, oh, tenemos un hotel y todo así, and then one of them is like, ¿quieres que quiero la noche aquí? I'm like, no, because I'm just like, I'm in Mexico. Like, this was one of my first time going to Mexico. Like, I went back to get like lips and shit, you know, como en Tijuana, but this was so different. Like, this was something like, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So entonces the first day was paid, and then she was just like, she's like, actually, I was like, so you're gonna pay another day, you know? She's like, actually, we don't have enough money for that. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? I'm in here. And then she's like, yeah, you're gonna stay at another house, and I, you know, just, you know, we'll keep you updated. What? So I went into, they took me into the like another house, the drivers actually. And honestly, I'll be honest, he was really cool. Pero I just felt like the whole thing was just like, was super dragged out, because dijeron que nomás era 4 días. And then That whole event took 14, like, como 10 to...
Wow,
like,
you were in Mexico for like 14 days.
yeah, because, and then, like, I was even threatening her. I was not threatening her. I was, like, telling her, like,
That's kind of, like, weird, though.
If I don't leave, I was, like, I'm gonna, like, tell, like, my parents, thinking that's a big threat. Back then, to her, and then she was just like, oh, yeah, you want to try it? She was just, like, try to go crossing back, and then it's just, like, they're gonna get you and bring you back. She's like, you want to play with me like that? So then, and she was like, in my heart, it's just like, because she had my dog. So all my important was like, okay, she has my dog. Like, like, I'm like, fuck.
Wait,
like,
that's like so weird. Like, how are you going to go do this running? Like, I'm thinking like a run is like you just go pick up the car and come back. Like, you're just there.
Mm-hmm. And then so I remember like I had this friend back then too, and I was like telling him, and he was like, no, they're fucking with you. Like, like, come back, So they're like, and he would be telling me, hide your passport under your thing.
Like, bro, I would have left.
Yeah, I know. Like, thinking about it, like, I'm just like, damn, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I remember I would be hiding my passport underneath, and I'll be sleeping like this every night. Because, and I didn't want to tell my parents not, because I was like, I don't know what the
So you were able to have your phone still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was able to have my phone. And then so that's when I was already having miscommunications with everybody, because I'm like, where the like, now I'm already there, like for like 8 days, 10 days. And I'm like, I'm not leaving until I'm getting paid. Like, that was my mindset. I was already pissed because I'm like, I already wasted time here. Like, I'm trying to get paid and leave, So entonces, I'm here talking shit to whoever was on the other line and the WhatsApp. I'm talking, but then I meet this señora. So she was like in charge, I guess, of like the people, the runs and whatever they were, like packaging and whatever. She was just someone,
Yeah.
And then she told me, she's like, that's just crazy that she's like, they were not supposed to send nobody. We don't have nobody for this. She was like, I don't know why they would send you. And I was like, well, I don't know why. She's like, algo parece mal. And then like, I was just like, and I was like, okay, like I didn't know anything, So I was like, okay, well, okay, whatever. So then one night they're like, wake up. And I'm like, what? And like, I was like, what, 3 a.m? They're like, hey, drive this, you're going already. Go. Like, I was already relieved. Like, I was thinking like, hey, like, I'm already leaving. So they were following me behind, and then estaban detrás, de mí. So entonces I'm like there, cruzando the border and stuff like that. Gonna cross. And then, so I get there, and then they were just like, what do you call it? Like, I got obviously in the checkpoint. Entonces dijeron like, oh, like, the same questions, like, what you here for, and stuff like that. And I answered it, and then he was like, oh, go to secondary. So then I go to secondary, and then they pull out the dogs, and then the thing that tests is the, how do you call it? The tester?
I have no idea. I never gone through it.
The test is, so there's a tester that they do so they could see where the drugs or where they locate the alcohol. It's just a thing that they use. And then so
Is that the mirror under?
So they basically
I mean, I know the mirror that they put under, but like not like I don't know what it is.
Es una máquina. I don't know what it is. It's like a detector. Pero mind you, I forgot to explain this part. They had me drive out in a 94 Toyota, like a broken down ass. Like the window you had to roll down.
Oh yeah, that threw it. That.
Bro, I was going there with my nice, I had a nice Toyota Corolla back to a broken down 94. Like, ¿quién pensaba? Like,
yeah.
I'm like, damn. Like, I'm such, a dumbass. But whatever.
You never learn.
Yes. So they were like, when they told me roll the window down, that's when I was like, it doesn't go down. I'm like, secondary.
Well, you didn't know you didn't even.
I didn't know what's there. I was like, it's down. I don't know. I was just like, they're like secondary. The whole drugs was almost there. And like, I was like, are you serious? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's like mean burn.
Yeah, so
yeah, like super burn. Like, why can't you put like I would have like you should have thought. Well, obviously you didn't think, but I would have been like, oh, sorry, sir, the window doesn't go down. You see my old ass car? I'm gonna open the door.
See, like honestly, any person, in that point, that moment, honestly, I felt like I was the rush to get back to to my dog. That was what I was thinking. Whatever they questioned me and they're there, And I remember like after the questioning, like I was like, so I'm going home now, and then they were like, no, you're going to jail. Because growing up, like, I would always try to get away from I remember, like, I got away from some problems growing up with the cops and stuff like that. But it's just, like, this was real life shit.
Like, this is real. You're in the border, bro.
Yeah. And so I remember that they took my phone. And I remember, like, I was deleting messages because I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going. Like, I was, like, afraid. I was like, what if, they look at my messages, they find her and then, like, my dog. You know, like I was.
Yeah,
I was
fuck
like,
her. You're on my dog.
my dog, fuck this bitch, my dog. But I'm not gonna, you know, I don't know what she's about. Mind you, like these are her people. So
Yeah.
whatever. I did the messages y todo así, but they were like, you know, what you're facing, you know, you're charged, you know, with transportation of methamphetamine. So they were like, you're gonna go to Geo. So that's kind of where I went. Though I locked me up at Geo. So that's kind of where where I first started in Geo.
Okay.
San Diego. So I was crying the first day there.
And they searched you all crazy too, or what?
Huh?
They searched you all crazy?
Yeah, well,
What did you think? Go ahead.
No, say it.
What did you think when you saw the dogs coming? Cause like
I was crying. I'm like afraid to say it because I would be a gangster, but no, I was crying.
no, I mean don't be. I mean be yourself, like you know.
I was crying and they had a camera in my face. I was like, yeah, but they better not put it in that show, like the National Geographic show, How to Catch a Smuggler. They better not put me on that. I did not authorize it. Whatever.
Authorize it.
Yes, authorize it. So whatever, I was crying. Like I was like, honestly, that was my first. Like I dijeron, like this is federal. This is not even state. The Suizas arriba. Damn. Like I was like, this shit sounded hard. I heard so much about the feds going up, you know, that I was actually in it. I'm like, you know, I was scared.
So they take you. How did you feel when they're searching you? Like how did that process go for you?
So they're just searching me. At least in the border, it's more like they search you. They make you sit in this metal thing that I don't know if everybody told, but this metal thing that's right there, so cold. You have to wait there like 10 hours till the bus picks you up to go over there. They only give you like the emergency blanket, you know. And I was on my period that day.
Why is it every time you get busted, not you, but it's like a girl thing. I think
I
it's
was
like
so pissed because they didn't even have no tampons. I'm like, what the fuck?
they just have those big old pads.
Yes, I was so pissed. So, and then nomás said I was about Maruchan, and that's it. You gotta be there for like 10 hours, right? So I remember when I got into jail, bro, I was crying. And the other girls there got their program already. So I was like, they were like, what is this, bitch, y'all?
Yeah.
Like, they were like, are you okay? They were like, you know, you should probably stop crying. It's not gonna fix anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of when I learned, you know, and I felt, because I'm not a street girl. So I felt like, obviously, like, this was something new to me, you know?
Like, did you feel like you didn't belong?
Mm-hmm. But no, it was not but I was not like bullies. But prison is actually way better than high school. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So then I remember that then my court hearing came. And then he was saying, because it was my first time, ¿cómo se dice? Like, offense?
Yeah.
Yeah, is mine good? Okay. My first time offense, he was just like, oh, well, then you're granted like a $10,000 bond. And then, you know, like, well, you just need a signature. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to tell my dad. Like, I was like, this is the thing. I didn't want to tell my dad, but because I thought I was really not trying to disappoint him. Like, I already disappointed him so many times. Like, this is going to be like right there. So I remember I had to get the phone. And I'm like, Dad, he's like, why are you calling me from how do you call it? Like a jail, like, he's like, are you in a jail cell or a jail call? And I'm like, yeah, like, honestly, I am. So I remember, like, he's like, oh my God, Tailynn, que te metiste. And then, like, I remember my mom was like crying on the other line. She's like, mija, ¿cómo estás? Like, and that's actually the first time, like, I felt like now they weren't judging me. They actually felt like they were, like, actually concerned for me. And, like, you know, and I felt really bad. I felt like that's one of the times where I felt like I really let them down. Because it's like, I could have done anything and everything that I've done for them. Like, I haven't done shit. I just brought them, like, you know, tristeza. So I was just like, you know, I just need a signature because I need to get out on bond. I need to get to my dog. And so they were just like, okay, so my dad signs it. And back then, they had this thing como like that you just had to sign a signature. Now they're asking for property and shit. But back then it was easy because it was COVID. So when I got...
They've always asked for property.
They always... Well, yeah, they were asking for property, but sometimes you had to put money down. Mm-hmm. But that time, they were just asking...
Because of COVID, you're saying? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so I got out. And then I remember that I didn't have no ride. I was like, what am I going to do? I had no phone, nothing. And then somebody was getting bailed out that same day. And then she was like, hey, I could drop you off, like, where you're... Because I remember the address, like, hazy, where she lived at.
The girl.
Really, the girl, yeah. But I was just like, you know, like, I want to go there. And so I call up my other friend, and I'm like, hey, meet me here, pick me up, because I'm just gonna give my dog in this dip. So then he's like, all right. So I pull up there, and then she was just, like, I'm knocking at her door, but I was just in shock. And then, like, mind you, I got into my Instagram, and I was texting, like, trying to text her, and then block, everything block. Like, so she blocked. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then when I go up there, she was just like she was mad as fuck. She was like, you came here? Like, and then I was like, I need my dog. And then that's when she pushed me. And then, honestly, I'm not a fighter, but I just started, right?
Yeah, you have, of course.
Where's Rocky? I was just more worried.
About your dog.
Yes, I was like, well, he's not coming out. So then we're going to start tussling and shit like that. So then that's when my friend arrived and shit like that. And then, what's it called? So because the baby daddy came out. So I guess because he probably thought that he was going to do something to me, he pulled out, or, or whatever. And that's when he's like, hey, let her go. And then, I'm there. He was like, Ty, come down. Your dog. I'm like, no, I'm not leaving without Rocky. And he's like, no, you can't find him right now. He's like, let's go, So I go into the car and stuff like that. And then I was just crying because I'm like, man, I got this case. I can't find my dog. I'm like, what am I going to do? So then, what's it called? I was living at his his mom's back house for a while. So now I got a call, saying hey, you have a probation officer. I'm like, what is this?
This is all new to you that you have no idea.
Yeah, so then they told me, you're on pretrial right now. So, you're going to have to report, I'm your probation officer. And she was cool. I'll give her that. She was, cool probation officer. Y como, how do you say it? So when I got out, I was staying back with his mama's house. And this was, in, Crenshaw. So this was a whole different dynamic. So I don't know. That's kind of when my life went down, because I had to move out of the house I was staying at because I wasn't there no more. And and then I just moved with him because I had no money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt I just had to deal with a whole lot of shit because it's just he would just kind of mistreat me. Because I remember one time me dejó sin agua, sin nada, and then he was he got I remember even his mom. I felt his mom didn't like me. And so, what's it called? I remember I went to the other house to get water, and then I remember that he just snatched it from me, and then he was like, what the you're hurting me out, sé qué. I told I couldn't even use the restroom there. I was just I'm like, what do I do? That's kind of when I was broken down a little,
Well, yeah, you have to. Sometimes certain things happen in life so that we could open up our eyes and really get our selves together to what we need to do and not depend on, even though we have no choice, So what happens? You're in pretrial, you're living at this guy's house. Did you ever find your dog?
I'm going to get there.
Oh, okay, go.
Yeah. It's because I swear, I try to say it so then you can understand.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So, so the thing is that, living at his house and stuff like that, I remember I would always search up for my dogs and stuff like that. I was missing dog, I would try to post where, if they found any and everything. I remember I would even get Ubers to go to these dog shelters. And then it would just, I saw a dog that looked like him. And then, I realized it wasn't him. I was man, and it got to a point where it just kind of I didn't want to think anything wrong, but I was thinking already. I was something happened to him, because I was I just didn't, you just feel that.
Yeah.
Because there's so long he's been gone. Is he okay? He wasn't at the house, so where the maybe somebody got him, I was But so I learned a little bit to accept what it was and accept that, he's gone,
Yeah.
So I was just thinking that in my head. So then, mind you, so when I was the whole time with him, so was I'm trying to explain it without sounding a little. So growing up, I guess a black man, and you feel you see a lot of gangs, a lot of violence and stuff like that. So I felt growing up, how he was a little bit, his demeanor came tough sometimes, but he said he was doing it out of love, or como that he, telling me you need to toughen up. Now you're in this situation, you know. And then when I first met him, this was even before all of this shit. When I first met him, he was so different. Like, because I remember I met him, he was throwing money at the club and whatever. And then, you know, I started liking him. Mind you, we don't have, like, not a lot of black guys in Washington. So that was, like, my first time, you know. So a little bit, like, obviously, you know, I was, like, a little bit.
So it's kind of true. Once you go back, you never go back.
I'm done with these chocolate demons. So anyway, yes, it is true. Like, you know, so then, but yeah, that was.
She says it's true. So what happens? What happens? When do you have? How long were you on trial?
Okay, pre-trial was like about 6 months. And then I remember that back in California, you know, like it's one of the least states, I guess, for that. So they were like, you're looking at 3 years, you know? And so I was like, damn it. Like, you know, I was just, so I was like, oh, you know, I didn't want to sign for 3 years, you know, but that's what they were.
3 years ain't nothing for that, girl. Dang.
No, now I know. But before then, I didn't want to be locked up a day.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, damn, 3 years. I was like, you know. And then I remember that I had an attorney, and then mind you, it was somebody, and I had to pay. So were you dancing still? I got back to dancing.
Okay.
So me and the dude, we actually got an apartment in downtown LA. So then because we needed one, because I'm like, hey, I'm living with you. My PO is gonna do a house check, and we're not trying to have your mom's address.
Yeah.
So I was like, so we're gonna need to have a place. So my dad co-signed for both of us to get an apartment in downtown LA. It was it was like a loft, but it was nice. You know,
whatever, your spot.
Yeah, and I know he wanted to obviously like move to show, you know. So mind you, me and him are living together.
So he's like a fake trapper wannabe guy.
Yeah, so but like me and him were living together, not in a relationship, because we wouldn't have sex. But we were living there arguing like couples.
Yeah.
Or like it was like when I wanted to like make my own thing and he wanted like it was just crazy, because I felt like he wanted to have like when he could have girls over, he would have girls over. But God forbid I would bring a dude.
Yeah.
So I get it. What, you know, but I don't even know how to explain what I went like that.
No,
like,
I understand. I hear you.
Mm-hmm. So entonces, I remember I got an attorney, because she was like, yo, yeah, we're gonna go to trial, we're gonna win this, we're gonna say you were set up, and you know, we're just, you know, you're gonna get out of it, I'm sure of it. And then I'm like, okay, you know, they're gonna go trial. And so I didn't know that. And then like he was like,
he lost.
He's like, you're really gonna go to trial? And I'm like, why? Yeah.
I'm like, bro, no.
Exactly. He was like, no, bro. He was like, you're gonna lose. It was like, the feds don't take a case without trial. They're gonna know that you're gonna win. They're not gonna. He was like, look at the case, regardless what it was. You know.
Yeah.
So why are you gonna go?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, man. So I paid this, you know. And I remember that I asked to go to Atlanta for my birthday. And so I told her to put the order in, and then she's like, yeah, I got it. So I go to Atlanta. So, I come back. I missed the drug test day, because you have to do drug testing still regardless in pretrial. And so I remember that they were like, oh, like you missed your drug testing day. And I was thinking that she put the order in. I was like, yeah, I just came from Atlanta. My people was like, what? And so I was like, yeah. Did she say? She's like, I never got no notice. So I was like, oh, really? Like, I was like, I thought she said, you know. And she's like, I'll call you later. And then I remember that the next week came. She's like, hey, I'm gonna need you to come in. And by then, me and him were already having problems. I remember that me and him were having fights and stuff like that. I even served him papers to get a restraining order.
Oh, dang.
No, we me and him, we got in it. So prior to that, I remember that I had so my pretrial condition, I could drink. But because me and him, he got in a fight with me, and an altercation started. Like, he hit my eye. I had a black eye. And then I remember the police were involved. You're not supposed to have police contact. So because of that, they were like, you can't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm the one that got hit. I was like, are you serious? So I already had that police contact, and they considered the one that I flew to Atlanta and missed the drug test. Mm-hmm. So mind you, I was like, yes, I'm gonna come see you. I have the papers. I'm gonna serve. She's like, just come. And I'm like, okay, I voy. And then that's when they were like, I was like, so who are you guys? You know?
So they kept you.
Yes, he took me in.
I laughed. I'm sorry, but
I was so pissed. I came with the paper. I was like, yes, because me and her, we would have conversations. conversations about him. Like, actually, she was really cool because she kind of knew a little bit what was going on. And like, I remember I was, we were just crazy. And I remember I would be like, he's trying to hit me. And then like shit like that. She's like, girl. And he would talk to my PO. He's like, she's crazy. We were toxic.
Yeah.
We were toxic.
So whatever, they keep you.
Yes.
You stay. You've never been in jail besides that one day.
Yes. So I go in for violation of my pretrial. So the whole violation of my pretrial, I had to stay there duration 20 days. But by then, I didn't go in scared. I went in mad. Because I'm like, what the my birthday like month?
You're still thinking selfish.
Yes, I'm thinking selfish. You know?
You're not thinking like, you know what? It is what it is. Like.
It is. Yeah, so I'm just like, man, my birthday month. And I remember like that was my first time when I went in there.
And how was those 20 days for you?
It was honestly okay. That was that was cool. I felt like the girls there were cool. There were how do you call it? Like it was COVID. I mean quarantine still. So they had us in how do you call it? Like there was like annex. Like there was like 20 girls. Like it was just 4 rooms and stuff like that. And like
you had to wear a mask still.
No, we didn't have to wear masks.
Okay.
So like you had to go out for 3 hours to watch TV, and then you come back, and then you lock down for the rest.
Got
it was boring still, regardless. But it was cool. Like I mean, we that's when I realized not everything's on the phone. Like you know, you have great times in there when you're actually like we were playing cards. That's when I learned how to play spades. You know, I met some. How do you call it? Till this day, I met some girls that I still stay in contact with. Right?
That's nice.
Yeah. So I remember, like, I used to have a smooth and everything, but when I went back to my court, they said because she was incompetent at being my attorney because she was a state lawyer.
Got it.
So the whole time she didn't disclose to me that she was a state lawyer. So I was like, but I just paid her a retainer. They're like, yeah, you'll get it back. They were like, but we're assigning you to a new attorney, you know? And then I remember that she is actually like shout out to her. She's just really her name was Danielle Iredell. She's just really she fights for her clients. So I'll just give her that for Yeah, es una abuelita, so you know how they be.
Yeah.
Working hard in court, right? So
So how long did you end up getting?
okay, so that time they were like, she was like, hey, you know, she for some reason it's so weird, but she got me on bond again.
Nice.
So, but it was weird because it was still pre-trial bond. You really don't get pre-trial bond. But she made it happen.
Yeah.
Because she was like, now we're going to get 2 signatures. So that's when my dad had to put down the house, his property, and the car, and another signature. And it just bumped up my bond, pues, you know?
Yeah.
So I got out the next month, and I'm like, moved at my parents' house because that was the condition. Bro, I was so miserable. I was like, man, I'm here. Like, I was used to
So unappreciative that you were out.
I was so unappreciative. So unappreciative. You know, like, looking back. Like, I was like, man. So, pero I was like, you know, I want to find my way back, you know? But then that's when I took the time to really reconnect with my parents. And then, you know, like, I was just like, you know, I'm so sorry for stuff that I've, you know, done. And, you know, that's kind of when they loosened up. Because I, you know, about the whole explosion thing and everything like that. Like, they were, like, being more there for me, I felt.
Like parents.
Like parents, yeah, exactly. Like, I'll push to the side, this is real shit going on, you know? Like, so I remember they still keep it a secret. Like, they don't want to tell my family, like, what I was going through. They'll just be like, oh, she was gone for school. Like, to when my family would ask what happened.
Wow.
Because they just think, you know, it's shameful and whatever. So, So I remember I was still like, I wasn't wilding out ni nada, but I remember I wanted to get veneer, like they were like composite veneers, and I'm like, man, I'm just gonna fly out to just get them done before I go in. So I remember I took that chance again. I flew back in, and then they were like, tie. Whatever. And I'm like, no, because I want to go in looking good. You know, I'm going to be locked in for how many hours? They said 3 years. So I used to have been signed on, and they were like, bro. So I was just waiting, I guess, to get sentenced. Yeah.
How long did you have to wait for?
So like three months. So I got out in January, and then I had to go 4 months, like April.
Okay. So what is the total that you got sentenced to when you went back for?
Okay, so because I had school, so I was doing community college at that time. So she said they settled for 18 months. But she said that I could do 6 months in and then 12 months house arrest. So then she's like, because she has school, she needs to do her work, you know, and then she has no criminal, priors and stuff like that. So then the judge approves it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So then that's when I did Geo again. And then from Geo, they took us to Santa Ana. And in Santa Ana, it's crazy because for some reason in Geo, they don't search you like that. But in Santa Ana, they make you like put on your pants and they'll like be like, all right, like we're gonna search you, and they make you squat low, and like I had to put in the whole flashlight up your ass and shit. I was just like, damn, like Santa Ana was crazy. Not that crazy. It's just a detention center.
I've been there.
Yeah, so you know how it is. They there's. I don't know if you met that one guard.
I was there in 2008.
2008. Oh, because it was a long while.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know how it is, the 2 floors and everything like that?
Yeah, it's just like that. Bam.
Mm-hmm. So I was there for a little bit because they moved me, and then that's when I went to Dublin.
Okay, tell me about you getting to Dublin, because now you're in prison.
Okay, so now this is my first time in prison. So, right? So I get there on the second month of the 6th, you know? So when I get there, they obviously separated the people, and then we go to camp. So
you went to the campsite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's FCI, and then there's camp. Mm-hmm. So I went to camp, and then I remember going in there like I was like, damn, this is like Disneyland. Like, what is this? Like, we had an open air, open field, but by then
and you're closer to your parents as well. And you were closer to your parents.
Yeah, because it's Stan Medic, you know. But during that time, I remember that there was the sex scandal going on. I don't know if you know about it.
Well, now it's closed because of that.
So that's when. Okay, so when I went in there, that was barely already getting noticed, and like they already were like, and they were low staffed. So there was literally like 2 guards working there every night, and I know that the warden was being how do you say the watched, or I forgot the term, but it was the warden. It was what's this?
They were already being what is that word? Investigated.
Yeah, they were being investigated. So I remember that was going on. They were like, hey, what's going on? And then I remember that me and one of the girls, like, they got the paperwork. So me and I was there being a chismosa too, and then I was reading it, and I was like, damn, like, that's just crazy. Like, I think that's just messed up when it's against your will. And I read there, like, a lot of girls are going through sexual abuse.
So you did meet girls that were going through that process of the whole sexual abuse thing.
When there was girls from FCI that moved here, they would tell us. But the ones that were in camp, it didn't really happen in camp. It was happening in FCI.
Okay.
So it was more the girls that came over there que nos estaban diciendo.
Got it.
Yeah, that what was going on. But because of that, we were really low staff, so anything went there, really, though. So,
what would you do? Like, what was your time? Like, how was your... Because you were only there, you said 6 months?
No, so by then I was there 4 months, because I had to do 2 months between Geo and...
Yeah, the transferring.
Yeah. So I remember the 4 months, well, it's true what they say, that the Feds is like Disneyland compared to other places. Like
camp for sure.
Camp for sure. Maybe the other side is a little bit harder.
Yeah, I never been to the camp, but
yeah. So right there, it's just like they assign you to a job, and
What did you work doing?
How do you call it? The stairs, arriba para abajo.
Oh, just mop the stairs.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, you get a routine. I would just do it quick, and you throw it así. Because that's when I got to working out a lot. I felt like when I first entered there, I remembered that me being the bubbly girl I am, I would be like, hi. And I remember I said hi to somebody's, like, husband, I guess. So, and she would be looking at me, she was like, so I remember they took me, they're like, hey, they want to talk to you. I'm like, who? They're like, no, it's a talk. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so me and I remember my friend at that time we went, bro, it was like 7 girls. And so she was like, and my friend, she was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. I was like,
damn, man, so she left you?
Exactly. I was pissed. I was like, what the? And so they brought me in, and they're like, so we want to talk to you because, you're a new girl here, and, you're starting a lot of problems. And I'm like, what? I was like, exactly what? And then she's like, you said hi, you said hi to her, and then she was just like, that's disrespectful. You're not supposed to say, you don't even know her like that. I was like, I just meant to say hi. Like, I didn't know. Like, but now I was getting a hint.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, whatever happened, I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. I was just like, I think you're pretty too. Like,
hi to you too. Hi.
You know, like drown out my, you know.
Honestly, prison is so dramatic for girls. Ay.
It is, because I didn't even know. I was like, damn, but families exist in there. So,
But I mean, I don't feel like in the camp, bro. Like, you're going home, chill. Like, camp is just like, bro, keep that for like the people that are doing way more time. Like, camp, bro, like now you're married, like you're gonna go home to your husband, bitch. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly, they'll be gay for the stay.
You were gay for the stay?
Hey.
Okay, we'll get there.
So the thing is that, so they took me to the room. They were, they gave me that discussion.
The little speech.
Yes, the little speech. I really thought they were going to beat my ass. So I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then so they were like, they just told me their shit. And I remember I got emotional. I went to my bunk and I cried.
Hi. Well, because it's your first time. You're super like bubbly. You're like there. You just want to be cool.
Yeah.
So
I cried because I was like, man, I just wanted to fit in. And I remember that one of the girls there, she was like, oh, we bought you something, because they make like, we made, like cheesecake. We made, shit like that.
Yeah, you'll cook in there.
Yeah, so then when I'm like, okay, thank you. So I remember from there, I was kind of like, okay, I don't want to be in no drama. I'm going to stick to myself and whatever. But I felt like how I came across, I came across as friendly and people, like, I do, they would say hi or whatever, but then I started focusing on working out. I met a couple girls there, like, las mexicanas, whatever. I was like pochita, they call me because, and so, like, they were cool, I learned a couple of few things right here and there. And then I remember that there was this, she was a negrita, but she was pretty, but she was like a stud, you know? And I remember, like, with her, like, oh my gosh, she was like dramatic too, because she would be the type que como se cree.
The studs se creen. They're super creídas. Like, bro, chill. Put your tits down, bro.
They are super creídas. Like, no, she will be like trying to like hit on me.
Like, they really swear they're boys, bro. Like, they really do swear they're boys.
Yeah, so she actually.
No offense, girls. I'm just saying.
She was, but she was like, she was like a pretty stud though. So entonces I remember de que como she would try to hit on me y todo así, and like at first when I went in, she's like, yeah, that's my wifey, and then so I was like, and because mind you, we had to be locked in quarantine together the whole time. She was like, hey, like I was like, I'm on my period. She's like, damn it.
You're on my period the whole time.
So I didn't know wifey, that means that I'm their girl or whatever.
Yeah.
So she came, that's why the reason she was mad, because I guess she called me that I was wifey, and then like when other girls were asking me, I'm like, no, I'm not gay. And they were like, but she's caught, So she took me to the room that day too, and she confronted me. So are you gay or you're not? Like, I was like, oh my God.
No.
But I liked her in a way.
Yeah. You thought she was cute.
So I remember.
So she's the one that turned you out.
Yes. So I remember,
she got turned down in prison.
Yes, exactly. So I remember that we were just wilding. Like, even like one day she's like, hey, come over, because she had a single cell, because they don't lock the cells. So I knew you could go sneak in cells at night. So then, and then I know. So I remember that I would go to her cell, and then that's when she was, I was pillow princess.
Yeah.
I was pillow princess. Okay. But I'm not gonna lie. Like, she was like, okay, my turn. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I don't know how. But she turned me out.
Yeah.
Right? Bro, okay, disclosure, don't whatever. So yeah, that happened, and then but she was talking to this other negrita there. So that was like her actual girlfriend. But
shit, was there drama?
So the thing is this, there was no, because I kind of knew them, because she would try to bring me around them and stuff like that.
Oh, she wanted you to be like the threesome vibe.
Because like las negritas, they would always play like, I remember, they're cool, like till this day, they're my friends too. So
no, yeah,
they're my friends. We follow each other on Instagram.
One of my closest friends, son negritas that I met from prison. Like, they're my friends.
Exactly. So I was like, man, I would see them play their games, and I want to play with them sometimes, because I would always do my own thing, like in Fest.
You just mess with everybody.
Yeah, at least in Fest, no one, how do you call it? No one said, like, I know in State you guys have to be with your
race.
What's that one word called? I forgot that word. Whatever. Yeah, there's nothing. Everybody hangs out with everybody. Whatever. So, yeah, like I remember that she would try to bring me around him and stuff like that. So my other friend from Geo, she's crazy as far. I love her. Her name's AB. She's gonna see this because she.
Shout out to AB.
Shout out to AB. She came. She's crazy. So she was just like another one that was, you know, new and like bubbly and like we're just always me and her we just went through a lot of shit there too. But she brought me around them too as well. So I remember like that's when I started like playing games and then whoopty whoop. And then I remember that me and her. Like, I was just like, hey, like, I don't know how to tell you because I'm kind of like a girl's girl, whatever. But I was like, siempre me estaba, how do you say it? Like, I was like, she's still hitting,
So she was like flirting with you, like try to hit on you.
Yeah, exactly. But that was her girl now. Because I see like, que le estaba like comprando comisaria.
Your friend.
No, AB no.
Oh,
the other girl, the
okay, yes.
was by the other nigga, but I was in the group because I would be playing games with them.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I don't know that, because she would ask me, because she's like, I knew you liked her first, because she was in the room when that first happened.
Okay.
And so obviously we got into a discussion, and then I was like, yeah, she still tries to hit on me or whatever. And then I remember that. The stud, but she came up to me and she was like, so we're gonna do this here or what? And then I was like, what? She's like, come to my cell. So I was like, all right then, but you really, I was like, nah, now I'm heated, right? So then I go there and then she starts arguing with me instead of fighting, and then the other two they pulled her away. They're like, no, and she's like, nah, starting a ruckus and shit like that. Like she tried to just tell me like, you just open your big mouth and I don't know what and this, and then I was just like, whoa, it's not my fault. You're out here trying to hold around. I'm like, bro,
you're bulldagging. What's the word, like the bulldagging?
Yeah, and she would be always exactly when I was around her, because sometimes we had to be when they would call our names and stuff like that. She would be like looking at like checking other girls. Y toda like right enfrente de me, knowing that I kind of had feelings for her before, but it's just like, bro, why are you doing that shit?
You're like, fool, I thought I was wifey.
Exactly. Like, bro, like, you really think like you can?
That's hilarious.
Get it to your own medicine. Like, I was like, bro. So like that's how but I remembered from then, like we didn't talk for a while. She would always give me like dirty looks. I'm like, bro, like I don't care, but you just mad because you got caught. Like, yeah. Exactly, but.
Did you get visits while you were there?
No.
Because of COVID? Mm-hmm. Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I remember that one time, during that one time, they did a walkout from all the guards from FIC. They all walked out one time.
You mean FCI?
FCI. I said FCI. FCI. They all walked out. We're like, damn, what happened? And that's when they were like, oh yeah, like what was it? The attorney general or someone was coming because they were going to conduct an investigation and stuff like that.
Oh, dang.
And that's when everybody started coming out with the accusations, stuff like that. And I remember there, like, all we were caring about is, we want better food. We want the FCI credits to, it's the credits. Like, I forgot what it's called, but it was the credits that counted for your time to get off.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember that we were talking about that because they weren't counting those credits because some of our times wasn't taken off. Well, at least for me, I don't give a fuck because I was there a little bit. But other people that had more time, like I remember I met this girl, like ella tenía like almost 15 years in there. And it was
in the camp?
In FCI, but they moved to camp.
Yeah.
So even then when we're talking to her, she's like, oh, there's iPhones you could even like tocar. We're like, yeah, but it's just crazy. Like, like I was like, man.
What would you say was the craziest thing you experienced in Dublin?
Craziest? I wouldn't say craziest. I would just say like, especially when the male guards were working, cuando te miraban and stuff like that, and it's just like, it just.
Were you ever like approached by a guard and like to like do anything?
No, honestly, no. That's how I feel because of the whole investigation. It was a little bit more. They were like on their toes.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. Honestly, everything just like it wasn't. I don't think nothing was crazy. I felt everything was like high school.
Got it.
Yeah, everything was like high school. Yeah, especially with like, except everything was everything girls. So like the boys were the studs, or there was only ones, like 2, 3, like.
And all the girls wanted them.
Exactly. Se creó.
No, for sure. Yeah, I get it.
I remember that one time, because she was trying to file, is it called a 1039? But when you have a case with from county and running concurrent.
Yeah.
She didn't file that in time. So I remember they took her to FCI. So I used to play the only boy on our campus. Según. So I remember before that, I remember she was trying to come to me and talk to me still, you know? Mind you, like
Before
that was
they took her.
And I remember my bunkie didn't like her. Era una señora. Like, you know, Mexicana, whatever. But she was cool as fuck too. But she did not like her. She was like, bro, like she's just annoying. No sé qué. Like, she comes in this room, I'm gonna tell her shit. And then she was like, I remember one time she came and then she was like, yo, don't you see she doesn't want to talk to you? And then that's when she came and pushed her. And then I'm like trying to take her out. Her friend was like, you know what, Anna? And I'm like, no, Anita, you're they're gonna squish you. Oh my God. It was just, if I could tell you everything, there was always something going on.
Like super little dramatic little situation.
Little dramatic, little though.
And how long were you there for?
Okay, this was already like the third month. So
Okay.
one more month.
So basically your months were kind of all the same, like those little 4 or 5 months that you did.
Yeah.
Little drama here, little drama here. So when did you find out you were going to come home?
When my 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when I came home. It was, what was it? It was like June. Like, I know it was either, when I went, April. Was it April, June, July, August, September? Like September.
Okay.
September, October. So that's when I came out. But
And where did you go when you got out?
back home.
Okay, to your parents.
Yeah, so I guess you could say my overall experience from Dublin is that it was a great learning experience. I learned a lot, about myself, girl code, street code, whatever it is. Like I said, I'm not from the streets, but it's just like I learned how, how it works and how you gotta
How to survive.
Exactly. And like to keep it, respect yourself, respect others as well. If you want respect to be given, you gotta give that to, first, like that, no matter what. So anyway, I just, I guess you could say I toughened up in there, right? I remember I got into one fight in there.
Oh, you got in a fight?
Pero it was, like I said, me and her still as they were still for everybody just like didn't hold, like, how do you say rencor? Like nobody,
Yeah.
We got in a fight over some dumb shit because I guess I gave her attitude. I was having a bad day. But I mean, we hugged it out later.
Yeah.
So it was nothing serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went home on ankle monitor because that was the deal.
Okay.
The ankle monitor. And so I remember when I went home, I went to my parents, I needed to find a job because that was the conditions of my release. And then I found a job at the Pumpkins with the dudes. And I remember they were like, yo, you have an ankle monitor? That was so tight. And they were all a bunch of felons. So I was like, yeah. Like, saying I would try to act like hardcore shit. But I was like, yeah, it's not, like I just had to do that.
Yeah.
But then I'm trying to say, what did I do during that time? That was the first time. Oh yeah, so then I didn't want to do that anymore, and so I remembered that I moved back to try on ankle monitor, and then from that I remember I was living at another, like, by myself, and then I got involved trying to do like OnlyFans again with my ankle monitor.
Wait, so you had OnlyFans before?
Yeah, but I wasn't paying attention because I was locked up. So then I started getting back on there with my ankle monitor, and but I mean, whatever. It just like I just felt like more like being in house arrest was more boring than being in the
prison. Yeah.
Yes, because you can't do shit.
Well, yeah, you just have to go to work and come home.
Exactly. So then I decided I was like, I want to move to San Diego. So I remember that I met this girl online. And then she was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, come over, whatever. Like, I do have a room for rent or whatever. I'm like, great. So at that time.
And your PO was okay with it because you're in San Diego, so that's where your probation is, or was, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I remember that time, like, I was like, okay. So then I moved to San Diego. And then, what do you call it? I moved to San Diego, and then I was a little bit, because San Diego is different. Like, I was a little bit, like, they give you permission to go out and stuff like that here and there. But I was obviously going other trips, like, when they're like, okay, you're going to go here and come back. But they could monitor, because it was GPS monitoring. I would go to, like, the mall. I would do this. I would do that without permission. And that's when they had to, like, do a super, like, like, they're like, okay, no, you could only go to your classes.
Like, you're, like, not following instructions kind of vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, you have to go to your classes, and then you have to come back home. And I was just like, okay. So then Okay, I started doing that program, but I was just kind of like,
You just weren't happy.
yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. And then I remember that one time I was just so bored, and I was like, man, I'm going to the strip club. So mind you,
In
like
the daytime?
no, night. I exactly. I'm like, nah, no wanted to see nada. It's because it's a crazy. Everybody know. Well, okay, so if I say it, it's gonna sound weird, right? I had a crush on my PO because it was the first guy. so then, mind you, I sent him a picture
Of you.
Yes, bro. Pensando, I was like, oh, it was an accident. You know, I'm like, I don't want to send, like, I just want to see, you know? Dude. Like,
You sent your PO a picture of you.
Yeah.
Because you had a crush on him.
Yeah. So then I was
She
like,
laughs.
bro, I was wild. I in the club pensando que era malandra with that. You know, I was just like, yeah. So then the next day, the superintendent from the PO called me. And they're like, she's like, yeah, you need to come in. But I came in thinking, like, you know, I thought I was going to get arrested. But then she pulls out, she's like, what is this? And I was like, it was an accident. You know, I was thinking, like, you know, she was like, yeah, she was just like, you know, what were you thinking and stuff like that. And I was like, man, like, really, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm just being honest, like, you know?
You're like, I was sending to the wrong person.
Exactly. I was like, I sent it to the wrong person. It could be that.
Yeah.
And I remember my attorney had a field day with that one in court. Because then they arrested me because they said the basis of it was because I went out of bounds. So I remember then that was brought up into court. And then I was like, what did I do looking back at it? I'm like, oh my God.
So,
now I look like a threat. Now they were like, when I went to court, because now they violated my, it was still considered like time in.
Yeah, because you're still considered FBOP property or whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're still an inmate.
Exactly. That's still in me. So entonces, they were just like, oh yeah, like she needs, what's that one thing? Pero es como like, she doesn't have good judgment and, you know, she needs time in and, you know, she's in this picture because they first discussed everything that went out of bounds. And then the superintendent comes up. She's like, mind you, she sent a picture to Officer Weeks. And then the judge was like, what type of picture? Like, bro, like they made my case so funny because like, I was like, bro, they brought up the strip clubs. So they said that I was not allowed into strip clubs. That was my case. Like, they were like, she's not allowed into strip clubs. She's not allowed to have a male probation officer. And
Damn, you're just out of control.
exactly. So I look bad. So they were like, oh, she's out of control.
I mean, well, you were bad, bro.
I was bad. I'm not going to lie. I was bad.
Yeah.
So I...
Like, you know what you're doing at the end of the day. You're a little nasty.
Exactly.
Okay, so how long have you been out?
I've been out.
I don't even mean for your violation. I just mean like in general. Like you got off your, like,
So
what are you doing?
I just got out April.
Okay.
Took out April but this violation was because I got into, when I got out, this was the second one. Okay, when I got the first one, the one I'm telling you about. So I got out, and then my conditions of it was to not drink alcohol. So they got me out with that sober link. So then by then when I got out, I had to go to Crash. I don't know if you know about Crash. Mm-hmm. It's a program that they send you like for 90 days and like you reflect, like it's more like for people with drug addictions, but because they said I was unstable, they said that they were like, oh yeah, you're supposed to go in there because you probably, you know, like you think that there's that one word. It's basically like girls, obviously, if you get, you know, that you think that you get money for your body and you're unstable. Like they thought they put me at that category, right? And at first I didn't get, I'm like, I'm not even alcoholic and stuff like that. But there was some stuff that I was dealing inside that it just got me, like, no one wants to talk about it. But, you know, like, when sex work, it does get you, you know, because you don't value yourself as a, you know.
But wait, when were you doing sex work?
So that's when I started, like I said. Like, I started when I was when I met the girl for San Diego, she was doing that. So
like being a prostitute, you mean?
No, not like, it's like online, like escort, like online, like there were sites and stuff like that.
So basically like online, like playing with yourself kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Or with another person.
Yeah. So basically there's like sites and then like you like find, you know, like a girl you like or whatever and you like message her and you pay for her time or whatever it is. But that's kind of like what she was doing. And so she was teaching me a whole different ball game and I didn't want to do that because I was like, you know, I don't want, you know, but I felt that like whatever, like I was doing it because she was doing it as well, and you know, if I could take it back, I would. I felt like, you know, I wanted to. Yeah, it doesn't value you as a woman, you know, but it's just like
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and whatever people are gonna say.
Yeah.
You know, I hope someone could relate to my story because hey, you know, like sometimes we gotta go what we gotta do to get the cheddar, but as long as you have an exit plan, I felt, and that's always what stayed with me is that. I don't want to do something like this forever. No, like, you know, so that's going on with the story, right?
Okay. So you're out. What are you doing now?
So right now,
because you just literally got out in April. Like, what are you doing?
So right
with
now,
yourself,
I did start a cleaning business.
Oh, nice.
So it's in the process. I already got that signed and everything like that. But right now, I just been, you know, just. Doing other than that, just I guess it was, you know, what I told you about.
So you're doing kind of the same thing.
A little bit, but I don't want to do it no more. That's why I wanted to come out and say like whatever you like they heard about me that I do is just like I wanted to put an end to it.
And that's why you're starting your business, which is that's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. So right now, like I'm trying to be more involved into doing like my YouTube channel. I want to get into that. I want to start, you know, doing like TikToks and stuff like that. Just there, I have enough money saved up. I feel like I just gotta put more time into my business.
Yeah, and even like your cleaning, like you're getting a cleaning business. Like you could even go when you're doing your cleaning, you record everything and you put it on your TikTok. You put it on, so you need to grow your business. So and you're still young.
Yeah, I mean. 26.
You're young.
I was there.
I always, no disrespect, but if you're in your 20s, you're still a kid to me.
Yeah.
Because we're still like lost.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And even like you know, like and I don't even mean it that way, but I do have a 22-year-old.
Okay.
So, and I could probably have a 26-year-old if I would have had my baby, if I had a baby at 14.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I wish I would have started young. I feel like damn, but I'm not even ready. Like I'm a kid myself. So I'm like, you know, I feel like I still need to mature, but
starting a cleaning business and starting like your own actual real business, it will take you out of that lifestyle because, like you said, that lifestyle, it is traumatizing, bro. You do got to hang out with different fools. Like that's just kind of like
yeah. There've been experiences that are just like.
What would you say was like your crazy experience in that lifestyle?
I would say that.
Nice.
I would say.
But I need something juicy to put.
Yeah.
I need something juicy, like to, you know what I'm saying? Like for the girls that are watching that want to do this, like this is the kind of stuff you got to worry about.
So I would just.
Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like this is like awareness.
Awareness, yeah. So if you're like in this, like obviously, like you don't know who you're meeting. You could even meet like a serial killer. You just like, don't know who you're meeting. Obviously, you screen them. They could be the cops and stuff like that. Whatever, whoop-de-whoop. But it's just like I remember like one time we had a crazy. Like, you know, client, and then it's just like wanted to run up on me. That is just like, yeah, me and the homegirl, we had to just like put him on a chokehold. Just because he was gonna do something to me. I felt like that.
Yeah.
But what you could even deal with, even like just you just never know.
Like just nastiness.
Exactly. And always it's just like in that industry, it's just like anything goes, and it's just like they want the most nastiest thing for low. Like they're asking for like bear and stuff like that. And it's just like for me always is just like no matter what, even if you're in this industry, always respect yourself and keep it covered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what always, you know, if you're gonna do this, always do that because your health you can't ever get it back.
Yep.
So I felt, but like I'm just coming out like this because I don't want to do this anymore, and I felt like if anyone wants to hear my story, it's just like I just want to let them know that they're not alone, and it's like if you want to quit this, you can do it.
That's
just
right.
Have to have a goal in hand.
There's more. There's more to life.
There's more to life. So other than that, I'm meddling into music again.
Oh, cool.
So I'm starting that. So if they know me because I'm doing music, like that's what I want to be known. I want to start getting into that as well. I'm doing real estate classes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Yes.
So I felt like, you know, like all that time, like, you know, I had to do a self-discovery about myself. And there's more to life than just, you know, like there's more to life because the time you spend locked up, I didn't spend a lot of time locked up, but hearing other people's stories and stuff like that, you can't get back time, but you could always create like a better life for yourself.
Yeah, and honestly, there is more to life than money. Getting it in certain ways.
Exactly. So I felt for me, it was never about the money. It was always about what you're gonna do with it. So I feel like now it's just like I started. I'm trying to invest for like a house. I just got my car. You know, people that doubted me along the way, I use that as motivation because it's just like, you know, it's just like now you see me doing good. Like, you know, prison doesn't set back someone. Like if that's the hardest thing, you know, it doesn't set. If anything, it motivated me.
And sometimes that's why you get put there.
Exactly. So I feel like, you know, like I feel God put me that as a lesson. And, you know, going back to my dog before that, I got a note because I microchipped him. And so I got a note, I remember, and they said he was found dead. So that's when I was living back in my LA apartment. I remember I was crying and stuff like that, you know? Obviously, you know, that was my dog, you know? But I just felt like, you know, it was a lesson that God taught me, you know, like, you know, like now you're learning your lessons, pick your people wisely, you know, to not lose more people again. And I felt this journey, like I've dealt with like even like fake friends. I dealt with that too, and you know, even in this industry, you know, whatever.
Everywhere.
Exactly. Like I felt like, you know, one of my ex-friends at that time, no mentioning, you know, was just kind of like using me a little because, you know, like even when I got out of like prison and stuff like that, like my money was gone. Like half of my money was gone, and, you know, like using it for rent when I wasn't there, but I let her walk all over me in a way because I didn't want to lose people that I thought they were my close friends because I didn't have no friends. I didn't go out because I was on house arrest, you know? But thankfully now that, you know, I'm out and free and stuff like that, like I was like, you know what, this time after I came out, when I went, this time it was what did I went to? To Geo. And I remember I was into books. I got into books a lot. I was reading, I was, you know.
Because you already know how to do time.
Exactly. So now I learned how to do time. So I was sitting there working out, reading books and stuff like that. Like I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to let people walk over me again. Like I've done that too many times, you know? And I've done already too many travesuras. Like it's like now it's time to grow the fuck up. Like what were you thinking before? Now it's, you know?
Like tying up, yep.
Exactly. So I cut up all those toxic friendships, and I just, you know, started, you know, like because now it's just like now that I'm not around that anymore, I see my life elevating more. And right now it's just like, you know, with my PO and stuff like that, like I even haven't met her, to be honest. But she's like telling me that you've been doing good, you've been going to your classes, because I have to go to McAllister and do my classes there. So it's just like since I mentioned sobriety, like I've been trying to work on that. It is a step in process, but as you know, I felt like if I wasn't on probation, didn't get my case, I would have still been into drugs.
For sure.
Yeah, because I didn't have no stop, and now that is just like now it's not even, I don't even crave it anymore. And I feel that like if I feel now like being in that community and stuff like that, I feel like, you know, we had to do classes and groups. I feel like happy to open up my experience, what I went through. Obviously, I never opened up about what I do for work because I felt that was so embarrassing and I was so ashamed to say it. But it's just like, it's a reality that some girls have, you know, do. But it's just like, I just fully support, you know, all the girls. I'm a girl's girl until they're not a girl's girl to me and they do some fucked up shit. Yeah. That causes, because there's girl code. Yeah. Then no, you know, but I'm typically a girl's girl. I'm always going to support you fully all the way. Yeah. But it's just like, till then it's just like, you know, you gotta.
I understand you.
Yeah. Keeping it G until, you know, I'm out. I'm trying to be good. So.
Good. Well, I do appreciate you coming. I hope you feel good about sharing your experience, about, you know, you opening up about what you do. Maybe this is what's going to help you, like, okay, you know, you're going to watch yourself and you're going to be like, man, maybe I...
Like, man, what was I doing back in...
Like, I really don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, back in the days don't matter. Mm-hmm. What matters is right now. Yeah. Because this is where you're at now. Back in the days, it already happened. You already did it. It is what it is. You're here now, though.
And I guess my biggest accomplishment was I'm making my parents proud. So now I'm like, you know, I've been paying their bills. I've been, you know, I just, you know, the car that I got, you know, I'm trying to give it to them as well because it's just like, you know, I want to do more stuff for them. And it's just like, because I never did that when I was fucking around. Yeah. And then it's just like now there's, you know, and I guess they passed, in their religion, they passed like this thing that says that you could talk back. I would talk to those expulsados again. And it's just like now it's just like, it feels like it's like great, thanks, you know, but you weren't there when I needed you. Yeah. You weren't there when I needed you, but it's nice to have him around. Yeah. You know, and it's nice to have like people like reach out to me and like, damn, after everything you're still doing good, you know, like some people who know, like I don't know my family members know, but I think they know because they're on my Instagram. Like it doesn't take 2 + 2 to know. Yeah. You know, they're just not gonna say it to my parents, but it's just like, it's good to know that I'm not alone either. And now that I have fully support And so now I feel like I'm making better choices.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to say that you haven't said before we go?
I guess I could say that you're not alone. You know, like that. This is a really. It feels good to let it go, because I was holding it for so long, and I guess, you know, like life is a movie. It just keep rolling right now.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Stay tuned. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you
as a
for
guest.
sharing.
Thank you guys, and yeah, till next time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.